I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the space to share. That all kind of sucked. There hasn't been a whole lot of easy things here in the last few weeks, but through the lessons that I've learned in this room, I feel definitely better prepared than I would have been had I not been here. And today, with the 60th anniversary of a movement that started way before most of us were even alive, I want to try to pay homage to some of the principles that I learned, not just in DE, but through chiropractic. And so an attitude of gratitude is definitely the place to start. I appreciate everybody who, the list would be too long, right, to try to lay out what people have done for myself and my family over the last 5 years. It's incalculable. Like, I can't even think, would plumbers pull together and help a fellow plumber like this? It's humbling and it's amazing, and I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who contributed, whether it was energy, a phone call, letters. We got board games in the mail. Gosh, I just can't even say thank you enough. To the people who traveled, the people who couldn't make it. We had a beautiful celebration of life, and I know that the peace that I have now is only from the Holy Spirit. And it's from walking in certainty, knowing that we're doing the right thing. The overwhelming question that I've been getting is, how are you? And I think to every single person that's asked, I've given a different answer, because it always changes. But if I had to wrap it up into one thought, right now feels like being a stranger in your own life. Even flying out here, I'm working on some things that I wanted to talk about, and the thought is still there of oh man, I can't wait to see what Denise thinks of this, or I can't wait for her guidance. And that's a weird space to be when you've been with somebody for so long. For 20 years, they are your better half. They are your other voice. They are your reason, they're your reason, but they're your reasoning. They're your clarity. And I just want to encourage anybody who's got somebody here or in your life, don't take that for granted. Towards the end, she couldn't tell the kids. She couldn't maybe go do the dishes or get the laundry going, but she could tell the kids. And now that we're past that space, you feel that presence. And I know that's such a weird, minimal thing, but it's different. So last week I got an email on Tuesday from the 6th grade team. Hadley is in 6th grade. We got Eli, who's a freshman, Hadley, who's 6th grade, and Lucy, who's 3rd grade. And I got an email from the 6th grade team that says, "We saw you haven't signed up for parent-teacher conferences. We'd really like to talk with you about Hadley." Cool. I actually wasn't going to go to any of them, right? Just the fact that they were there was going to be good enough. Late most days, which I don't get. I sat there and we talked, and it was good to see the team at school wanting to check in on them, not just academically, but spiritually. It just makes me so grateful for the people that we've surrounded ourselves with in our life. I think about the things that DE has taught us. And it's wild to think of the DE isms that we say so many times in here. And through our last 5 years, long days and sleepless nights is pretty cool when you're working on some marketing and you're going to go out. Like Andy said, don't do marketing to get more money, do marketing to save lives. And that's fun, right? And that's fun. But long days and sleepless nights, there are other things too, searching and going inside to search, trying to figure out what the hell is going on in your life keeps you up long days and sleepless nights. The cliche phrase of "I love and appreciate you guys," I can't even say how much I love and appreciate you guys. Dr. Sid said sometimes you can't go over things or around things, you just have to go through them. That one was pretty unavoidable, that we just had to go through. And the crowning jewel of lasting purpose is that you give, you love, and you serve with no expectation of anything in return. I'm doing this to serve her. I'm doing it to serve God, unattached to the results. That's a hard freaking spot to be in that situation. All you want is results. It's all my mind thinks about is results with it. And it wasn't until like the last 24 hours that I had to like really accept it and just let her move. We're connected in here because we connect people. We're connected in here as a movement of principled chiropractic. We're connected in here as a family that will love and support you and lift you up. We're connected in here as a clan of warriors that will go to battle and throw down when the time comes. You all exhibited that, and again, I deeply, deeply appreciate all of you for what you've done going into battle. BJ talked about, I think it was actually Stevenson that said it, but Stevenson said that very concisely that medicine is the study of disease and the things that cause a person to die, and chiropractic is the study of health and the things that cause a person to live. Time after time, we sat in doctors' offices, and I don't care if it was at Mayo or local places or Washington University in St. Louis, we sought it all out in the first half of her journey. You guys know when you're new parents and you make the decision to not use antibiotics or not use vaccines, and then your kid gets sick and you're like, well, shit, I gotta really figure out if I believe this. It's a convicting spot, very convicting. You have to step back into what you know and you have to own it. And in this journey, that was amplified. I can say confidently that I don't think we made a mistake. I don't think we missed anything. Lieberman told me when I called to kind of break the news of where things were heading, he said, we gave her the best shot. We gave her the best shot to heal and recover, and because of that, that's what we did. And I totally believe that, Brian, and I appreciate wherever you're at. I appreciate that moment of honesty and acceptance and understanding. I appreciate that. I know I can't say things about everybody, but Lieberman specifically, Davis specifically, F. You guys are amazing. You guys, Steve, everybody, there's so many people, but I have so much gratitude, and I don't know how I could have done this without you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys. As we went into these different doctors' offices looking, there was never an answer of, chiropractors, we're trained to find problems, to fix problems, to go for the cause. These guys don't care about cause. They don't care about what created it. They don't care about the cell physiology that's off and wrong. They just care that this thing is going to kill you, and so what can we do to stop the symptoms that are going to kill you? And in the right scenario, gunshot wound to my abdomen, great scenario, right? Really great, but when you're trying to alter physiology and turn it back, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know if you guys have watched their track record, but I don't really believe they know shit about anything. More and more studies come out all the time that, oh, guess what? This thing that we've been giving is actually now bad. We're going to change gears from this. It was all a bunch of failed answers off research that was old. That's really what it comes down to. The protocol they had her on was the same shit they had her on since the 70s. What are we giving all this stupid money for? What are we doing? Like, why can't we figure this out? I think you guys know the answer to it. So that first half of the journey was weird and mixed, and it did a lot to me because that coincided with COVID as well. And so as much as we want to say in a principled setting like this that symptoms don't matter and we don't chase symptoms, every single one of us were looking at symptoms during that time. And then you amplify it by going through this storm that we walked through, and man, everything got about symptoms. I'm thankful for Mason being a principled voice in my office to keep me grounded. I appreciate that, man. I'd return back here every once in a while, and I was reminded always of this. There's nothing bigger than life. And as we saw those processes failing, and we saw those philosophies unravel that medicine had, that they were trying to just suppress things, what we were left with is what our foundations were. Trauma, toxins, and thoughts. Subluxation disrupts life. Cause the expression of life, not the suppression of symptoms. And so we set out on a new path, a new journey that allowed us to evaluate it. We were already adjusting her, right? So the physical side, the trauma side was, we were handling that. The chemical side is something that, I say chemical, but biochemical side is something that I could wrap my head around. I like that process. I like to understand that process, and I wanted to see what we could do to shift things in a better way. And the emotional side, the thought side, the internal work that Denise had to do, I believe was probably the most important thing and part of her journey that opened her up the most. Sisyphus always said to look inside, to look inside. And as her life took an unexpected turn with this diagnosis, it caused her to go inside. And the person that she became is absolutely stunning. Amazing. The work that she did through meditation, through prayer, through being quiet, through retreating. We had a lot of people. Jenna was an absolute rock star for her. A best friend that could take a no and not get offended by it. Jenna would reach out and want to be there for her. I'm going to talk about you. I can't look at you. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't look at you. Jenna would call and say, hey, I want to run something by. Is Denise good? Can it happen? Hey, what do you think? She's like, I need to be by myself. And I'd have to tell Jenna, I'd be like, hey, it can't happen, right? Totally fine. And she texted me such a sweet thing about her strength and ability to have boundaries, because that's what she needed to do. So we fly out to, I don't know where we went, Charlottesville. We met with Zach Bush, and he encourages her to slip away and unplug for a month. So she goes to Hawaii in January of 21 and just unplugged. Some of you may know Devin Barana, another warrior that came alongside us. Her and Devin were tight. And Devin met her out there. And they did some breath work, and they did some things that unlocked something in Denise. And it started this quest of going inside. And through going inside, as I said, she just evolved. And that led to another thing, and we did the holotropic breathing with Stu Bittman, right? We did a bunch of Joe Dispenza work, going to Joe and learning how to use breath and posturing to get your pineal to release more melatonin so that you could go into these voyages. You know, if you don't know, I'm going to get nerdy here for a second. If you don't know anything about melatonin, it's the derivative of when your body takes tryptophan, which you make in turkey, and when it turns it into serotonin, melatonin is the byproduct. And it's produced in the pineal gland. It has some derivatives of it that are pretty neat, that help you sleep and help you recover. Your melatonin drops at about 4 a.m. So people who take melatonin to go to sleep, doesn't do that. You can take it all day long. Denise took about 100 milligrams throughout the day for a long time because it's one of the best anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, and regeneration for your central nervous system that you can have. So melatonin will turn into a muscle relaxer. It'll turn into a painkiller. It turns into an anti-anxiety med. It turns into not a med, that's dumb. It turns into things that ease your mind and calm you down. Methionine is the thing. And then it will also turn into a chemical that they find in hibernating bears that pull more blood or more fat into their blood so they can fast through the winter and sleep long. And that's what we do as well. As we sleep is in that fasted state, we have that same derivative from it. And then it also makes dimethyltryptamine. And that's kind of a funny one because that's what happens, that's what gets released when you dream. And it can be found in other substances. When you dream, your consciousness is shut off, and you're in your subconscious. But when you do breath work, when you do other forms of meditation, you can process things with your consciousness. And so we got into that. And we went on this voyage so that she could look inside and try to figure out what was, initially you think about what it is that's broke and how can you go in there and fix it. But then as this process goes on, you realize that nothing's broke and that it's all acceptance. And accepting where you're at, I think, is a very powerful tool. We were at a meditation retreat. In Mexico, and was up all night with her, and I had this realization that people go through shit like this, and they don't process it up front. They repress it, and they stuff it away, and that's not who I am. I had this drop on me that we have to heal in the moment. And I think healing in the moment is done through present time consciousness, through setting aside some time to actually think about things and being realistic, and not repressing but reprocessing. About reprocessing the way you're framing things, about reprocessing the way things are going. And in that, you can move forward, I think, peacefully and logically rather than being erratic. we put her celebration of life about 3 weeks out. One, because I knew a lot of people were going to travel to get there. But also, to be honest, I didn't want to be stuck in the sad mourning phase as my last tribute to her. I wanted the kids and I to have a buffer of kind of coming down a little bit, and then of really gathering aspects of her life that were amazing so that we could present them as a jewel to her life. And for those of you that were there, I think that's what we did. I have a link. I'm going to upload it. Maybe in 10 years. I don't know when I'll do that, but I want to share it with you guys because I think that it's important. So as things progressed and went on through the summer, well, she went to Mexico for her last trip in February and March. She was there the whole time. The kids and I went down about the third week of February, and we hung with her and just spent the weekend down there. And I saw her move across the apartment, and I don't know what it was in me, but I saw a movement pattern that I hadn't seen before. And I got that pit in my stomach where it was like, oh, shit, this is different. This time's different. And when she came back, so the clinic in Mexico, again, Lieberman pushed and pushed for years and years, and this crew came together to get her there, and I'm forever grateful. I don't know how many times I can say it, but it's never going to be enough. So when she was there, her cancer markers dropped, her blood improved, her everything worked. It looked great. Everything did good every time we went. Even the last time, she was still pacing the same way. When she would do chemotherapy, her CEA, which is her cancer marker for the colon cancer cancer marker, the CEA would drop 20 or 30 points. This clinic was dropping 500 points per week consistently. Boom, boom, boom. Doing great. So she left Mexico with a CEA, what we projected to be in the 100s, coming down from 3,000 when she went. 2.5 is normal just for range. 2.5 is what we should all have. And she's pushing 3,000. So we expected it to be in the hundreds, and she came back, and within a week, in less than a week, we ran them, and they were already back up into like the 2000s. It was a very sobering moment of, okay, this is happening. She knew. And I had to get very clear with myself over what these next few months were going to look like. Because I didn't want to be blindsided, and I didn't want my kids to be blindsided. So my acceptance took some time, and by about Memorial Day, the kids and I were out pulling weeds, working in the yard, just doing things, and I set them down. And I just asked them 3 simple questions. I said, how do you think Mom's doing since she's been home? How do you think she's feeling? And do you think she's getting better or worse? It was really interesting. My girls, they're like, I think she's doing good. It's good to have her back. And just that unconditional love that they just saw their mama. And Eli, he's something else. He's like, he's really logical. I don't know where he gets it from. he's like, I don't know. And it opened up a conversation to where we could start the healing process months and months before. And about every 2 weeks, I'd find time to pull them away, to go grab dinner, to drive to school, to go to sports, and I just ask them those same 3 questions again. And I let them see how this was going. I let them develop objective clinical skills to witness quite literally the roughest thing they're going to go through. so that their eyes were open and they could see what was happening. And like I said, so they didn't get blindsided, so the rug didn't get pulled out from underneath of them. As it all went on, Denise was obviously incredibly strong, never gave up, fought, and just did her thing. When we brought hospice in, they brought in a binder and all these supplies and the bed. We had a clear room. We set up this beautiful space in our sunroom where she looked out over these gardens that she had planted these beautiful wildflowers. It was really a great space for her. With all three of our kids, we had home births. And for those of you who have been through a home birth, there's that frantic energy of gathering up all the shit, right? You're gathering all the things and you're getting things ready and you get it all set up, and then you just kind of step back and you just wait. And you wait for the body to do its thing, to bring life forth. I said we had home births. I sat on the bed. I rubbed her shoulders. I didn't do shit. I didn't do anything. And that messed me up because as I'm setting up this hospice space, as I'm setting up this space for her to transition her life into the next realm, it felt like a freaking home birth, man. It felt beautiful that we were birthing her into something greater than where she was at. Away from this bullshit that's not fair. There was so much beauty in that there's so much heart in it because with a midwife, like I said, she did everything. I just sat there and looked pretty. But with this thing, it got ugly because there was no nurse there. We didn't have 24-hour nursing. I was the guy. And as symptoms started to kind of progress, I'd reach out to the hospice nurse and be like, hey, what's this? Or she'd stop by, and then she'd be like, Ryan, there's more gauze out in the car. Come out and get it. And we'd go out and we'd have these just freaking brutal of what was going on. And she asked me, she goes, you're using the binder, right? I'm like, oh, I didn't look at the binder. So I opened the binder and it's this how-to manual. That's a weird how-to manual to read. But in it, there was realism and there was truth. And there were things in there that said, what you're going through is normal. These are your symptoms. And as we talk about chasing symptoms to start with, symptoms allowed me to observe what was happening and be able to prepare my kids. So that after she passed, I went down and I hopped in bed with, the girls were sleeping in Hadley's room. I told my mom to go lay on Eli's futon. She passed in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. So, there's a time frame that you have to work and get things moving. And so the mortuary came by 5, everything was done. She was out of the house. I told my mom to go lay in Eli's room so that when he got up, he didn't come down. We could intercept the kids before they walked into an empty bed. I hopped in bed with Hadley and she leaned over and she goes, did it happen? I go, yeah. This little sweetheart grabs me, pulls me into her shoulder, starts rubbing my back, and she's like, it's okay, daddy boy. It's okay, daddy boy. She doesn't have cancer and she's with Jesus. When I lost it. I'm supposed to be the one consoling her, right? Freaking daddy boy, Oh. Eli wakes up and I ran into him. I'm going to take a couple minutes, I'm sorry. I ran into him in the hall, and he said to me, I go, how are you? He goes, oh, it's just weird. And I go, it's really weird. I go, but she's in a better place. And he goes, no. He goes, it's weird that we can just be a normal family now. It's like, dude, your freaking mom just died. Like, how are we normal? You know, and he goes, every decision we make doesn't have to be around her diagnosis. And she's free of it. Just look at these kids, and I'm like, how the hell? Like, what did we do here? Right? And I go back to healing in the moment, and I just feel like that's such a powerful thing that if you've got something you're going through in life, deal with it now in the present time consciousness. Take some time to go sit aside and meditate and pray and look inside and figure out what the hell's going on so that you don't have to repress it, you can reprocess it, and you can go forward. So we go to conferences. I go to conferences. And the teachers go through Hadley's grades. She's got straight A's. I'm like, well, how's she doing socially? Oh, she's great. She's raising her hand. She's in the front of the class. She's full of laughter and joy. She's just doing so great. And we wanted to make sure she wasn't packing this in and then being angry at home or depressed, and she's putting on this face here. Well, no, she's not. She's fantastic at home. She's great. And I kind of had to ask him, I was like, why the hell did you call me? Like, I don't need this, you know? And they wanted to check on her, and it was good. And it just made me think. I was like, she's processing this so great. And I know there's going to be hard times. Obviously, there's going to be freaking really tough times ahead. But in this moment of as the dust is settling, like, I'm so proud of these kids. So I stopped by and I grabbed their other report cards. This is the best quarter we've ever had. What? It's the best grades we've ever had at the start of any quarter. And like I said, Eli's in freshman year. We talked about this years ago. He's dyslexic. Like, there's no way we should be pulling these grades. And I'm just thankful for the lessons that I learned here to be able to implement that there. Work is fun. I love to work. In Denise's last few interactions with me, with the faintest, sweetest voice, love beaming from her eyes, she looked at me and she said, now it's time for the hard part. I didn't really ask what she meant by that, because that kind of encompasses everything, doesn't it? It's the hard part of her passing. It's the hard part of what life looks like beyond it. It's the hard part about how we carry her forward and honor her with integrity. And sit there and just watch her hold her liver and just eyes closed and just breathing. Just breathing into the pain. Her ability to be conscious with her kids versus sedated and pain-free. Gosh, man. A wonderful testament to how strong and how dedicated she was to life and her family and being present and healing through it. In here, we've talked about the jacuzzi moment. We talk about how we get the spizzerinctum, the rah-rah, the fire. As the rest of the day progresses, as the weekend has progressed, it's been a wonderful thing for me. The ability to sit here and listen, to laugh, the hugs. If I seem weird, it's because I'm freaking weird. That's all it is. But I challenge you guys now, in honor of Denise, to say, what's your hard part? What is it that you know you need to do to go back and make a bigger impact in somebody's life because it's going to be freaking hard? What are you taking away now that you know you need to change, you know you need to get right on, you know you need to cut that shit out or add that thing back in? All of us have a hard part that we're ignoring and that we're repressing and that we're forgetting, or maybe not forgetting. But now it's time for the hard part. Now it's time to own your shit and make some changes and go forward, and if for nothing else, do it for her. With all of the love I have in my heart, I want to say thank you again. I love and appreciate you guys.